On today's video, we will be tackling this engine harness. Now I had to take out the entire thing, which was a pain in the ass, but I'm glad I got it out. But in the meanwhile, I have to repair this plug right here. This plug right here that connects to the throttle that tells it whether to open or to keep closed, depending on where my foot is. I did repair it in the car, but it didn't work. So what I'll do now, I'll cut all of these plugs right out, strip this all the way down, and then redo it. But this time, instead of using these crimp connectors, I would actually solder a piece of wire there. And hopefully that will fix the problem. If that doesn't fix the problem, then I'll just get a new harness. That's not a big deal. But in the meanwhile, what I also want to do is strip this entire harness out of its electrical tape, out of its rubber things, out of its grommets, stuff like that, and then redo it myself. Why? Well, mainly because of these connections. This gray one connects to the hybrid ECU, while these two connects to the actual engine ECU. So what I want to do is separate this plug and this plug and have a separate harness. Now all of this is integrated together, and then obviously I'm not going to be able to do it. But what I will do is still route all of these separate plugs to a place I actually want them to go. Like for example this here. This piece here, it goes in the middle of my engine bay, and I don't want it to be routed like that. So what I will do is I will route it closer to the right wheel well, which will which will have more room in the engine bay and will make it easier to do stuff. But in the meanwhile, as I started already here, disassembling some, it looks pretty nice. But I'll still have to do this entire thing, which I will continue doing right now. Alright, so here's where I'm at now. I got this one cleaned up and removed the crimpers. Also this side right here. And put some heat shrinking on tape on them. And I have my soldering pen heating up. And obviously I have some soldering bits. Now it's just about, well, really trying to connect this to that plug right there. And just let you know, I am absolutely terrible with soldering. I might be getting pretty good with that machine right there, that welder, but soldering, well, I'm garbage at. So hopefully this goes well, and hopefully these connections right here come out pretty nicely. And here we go. I finished soldering all of these plugs up, all of these wires. You can see here they're absolutely not perfect. And it was absolutely painful. Not only like just lining up this amount of space or this amount of wire to this bigger wire was really difficult, but also I couldn't really hold these up. Like I had to struggle, had to use different tools to line them up, have to use pliers to keep them in place. Man, it was a nightmare. Hopefully I will get some more tools that will help me with soldering wires, and that will make my experience more better. But overall, I'm just really happy that I've done it, and I just want for this to work. So I'll plug all of this back into the car and test if this works. And then I'll continue with making this look pretty. Right, so here's a little small update. So I've been getting rid of all this electrical tape from all of here, the main harness here, been working all my way down until this point here. And what it looks like is that I can actually disassemble some of the transmission wiring, which is, well, this is for the fuse box, which is also great because I will be moving that to the inside, but also some of these wires. This wire right here is connected to the transmission, and some of these wires do connect to the engine block, like coolant monitoring temperatures and stuff like that. So that is great. I can move that out of the way. I can make it its own engine harness. It can make this much more easier. But also what I found out is looking at some of these, well, not this one, but right here, this ground point, looks like I can actually move this all the way back to there and grounded inside the car, so that would be even less wires that it's in the engine bay, making it much more cleaner. But overall, I will be still working on sorting this out. Hopefully I can move this all the way to the inside, but also all of these wires here. Which some of them are for the transmission and some of them are for the crank position sensor and stuff like that. I'll work on that and see what I can do. Here's another update. So I'm almost done. All I got to do left is finish the bottom of the engine harness, and then pretty much all this entire thing is going to be separated. But the good news that I found is this second, where is it? There it is. This second ground point that I thought it was just running somewhere over there, actually is just connected to this little thing. So that means I can totally wire all the way this back to the inside of the car and just ground it to the inside, which is really good. But also, this really happy moment that I've found is while I was detaping all of this transmission harness, I found out that I can actually separate it. So look, so all of this goes back into the firewall, and then once I remove this little grommet and remove all of this really sticky tape, I might actually separate this transmission harness from the engine harness, meaning I can simplify it and I can just reroute it the way I want to, which is really good. I'll continue working on this and I'll keep you updated shortly. Right, I've been working further on this harness right here. I've already got separated the transmission harness right here, so then I can wire it the way I want to, but also just completely de-tape, de-loomed, whatever you call it, all this harness besides some of this here right here. But that's not really that important to me right now. What's most important is just this transmission, and then this looms right here. But this has to stay connected, so I know which one's first, which one's second, which one's third. Since this is the ignition, no, not the ignition, the fuel injection, and then the coil system. So then I'll take all of this back to the car and see how I can line it up. Let's go. Right, so here I'm back at the engine, the transmission, or the wiring harness is right here. I'm gonna take this right here, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna first of all put this loom that goes inside the car back inside. Hopefully that will go without a problem. It should go right into this hole right here. So let's just attempt. Well, I'll have to attempt this, not you guys, but you know, hashtag race car. No, I'm just kidding. But either way, it's kind of much more harder, the fact that the harness is unloomed now. But looks like I did fit it on there. Well, I think so. Oh, there's just one there, one more. It appears to be, and there we go. Now let's go back inside the car and fishtail it to the inside. So Nick will be 100% sure. Okay, so we can see the harness from here. Let's just pull that to the inside. Make sure nothing is crammed. Okay, so now I can see whatever's here. Okay, there we go. Now it's going in. There we go. There we go. Okay, so that's good enough for me. Now let's go back to the engine bay, and hopefully we can sort this mess out. So first I'll take the engine harness, not the engine harness, but the transmission wires, which I'm pretty sure are these right here. Sorry you guys can't see. Actually, I think there are these ones here. Let me double check on this. Yeah, these are 100% net. You just have to unloom them. Yeah, there we go. These are 100% net. Sorry, I have no tripod or anything like that to put it on there. But oh well. Alright, so this is right here. That's the transmission here. I'll loom this right here. And I think this is it. Maybe, probably. I'm not sure. Let's see. Is it it? Yeah, this is pretty much it. So now there's 3 wires here. 2 that connect into the transmission back all the way over here. Right there, and then right there. And then there's another one, which is this one right here, which connects all the way to this point here. So that, let me just rewire the way I want to, then I'll get right back at you. Alright, so after comparing and seeing where each plug goes and how I want to wire it, now I know what I want to put together, wire together, tape together, whatever. So first I know that this wire right here, the transmission wiring, I already know that I'm going to be wiring this completely together. There are some parts also like the oxygen sensors, the coolant sensors, some other stuff that I'll be wiring together, which is somewhere back here. No, that's not it. But pretty much like these plugs right here, like this plug here can go back together. And there's also this weird plug, I'm pretty sure it's this one, where it just connects into another plug. I'm not sure if that's just the ground, but if that is, I will be working it back to the interior and just grinding it there if that's a grinding point. I don't know. But either way, I'll just tape whatever together and then I'll compare it back once again. Like a day later, here I've done pretty much a lot of work. Completely finished this harness. Besides this, which will go into the car, so I'm not that much worried about it. But I moved all of these ground points to the inside of the car. Like here as well, right here. Moved everything away the way I wanted to position it. Pretty much tapped and taped everything. Well, besides obviously the stuff that goes into the car. Had to cut and resolder some wires, which after doing a couple of times, I actually got pretty good at it. So now I really don't mind it. It's like pretty simple to do, so I'm really happy about that. Now the last touches really is just getting back inside the car. Just getting back inside the car and finalizing all of these. Then I gotta tape them, make sure they look nice, and then hopefully we can, well, not start the car because I still gotta do some things, but hopefully it fits nicely. Let's do this. Alright, so here is the harness installed in the car. Everything is sort of mildly connected. I just see to see if everything fits, and it does. I'll just spend some time in the morning to make it look pretty, since I really can't see anything in the dark. But oh well. And this will conclude today. But on the next video, I'll be focusing on removing this catch can over here. Hopefully getting rid of this stud since it did broke. And also getting rid of this stud right here since, yeah, right there, since as you can see, it also snapped because of rust. And hopefully I would also manage to remove all of this here, all of these wires, and put them inside, which I did wanted to remove them for a while, but complications and I had no idea how to. But I got this far. Now it's just for me to trace all the way along that side right there and braiding inside. But some of these wires, like right here, this one, and there's one more, yep, right here. Those ones I will have to connect once I've connected the intake and the exhaust, not the exhaust, the intake manifold. But overall, I'm quite happy. It was a pain in the ass to do, but I'm glad just over it. See you next time. Have a good one.